I have no intro for this.
Should start it just like that. I think that would be funny.
Well, I suppose we could. Although it's the loading screen, I would have waited if I had known I was going to use that.
Just do it again.
No, it's more natural this way.
Wow.
Hey, this has been a long loading screen.
I mean, it has been long, but is it going to be longer?
Deus Ex, is this a long loading screen? I mean, it has been long, but there you go. Burning buildings. Isn't it a good thing to be in? You ever spend time in a burning building?
Not recently.
Not recently.
Okay.
You're crawling around at the speed of sound. You only have 20 bullets left in your gun, by the way. Do we have any other
As long as I have breath in my body, not a bullet in my gun.
I don't think you have breath in your body anymore. I think you work on some kind of filtration system.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, well, your torso's been pretty hacked up. I think you've actually got some kind of iron lung. I thought that said F. I didn't realize it said PF. They just gave us a grade. Well, you can't go opening and firing. There's people.
Okay, that's not what I meant to do.
You wasted stuff, and now everybody probably knows you're in this place. Do we even know we're going in the right direction?
Not specifically. I'm just trying to figure out where
They crossed out every one of our logos on this building. Oh, not that one, though.
So clearly we're going in the right direction.
Because they crossed stuff out. They crossed.
That's what happens when you sit at a desk. You forget things, like crossing off logos. All right, where are you?
Oh, smoke.
Smoke. Keep up and smoke.
Ooh, and fire. And the sprinkler that's not near the fire. That sprinkler wasn't helping at all.
Don't lie to
okay.
Me. I don't want to hurt you. You're a civilian.
Okay, so apparently we were closer to the end than I thought. Because this is the guy who organized this whole thing. You gotta check that out. That's a torso.
You're here to clean up before the police.
How much of that? You gotta wonder how much of him is even him. That's a philosophical question, isn't it?
You're all the same.
Well,
you're gonna have a hard time convincing
what
people
you think makes up him.
Once they hear you had an
Yes,
og on your
what is a
team.
man
What?
made of?
I found your
Is he still a man
manufacturing labs.
if he's not made of that
Trying to
anymore?
cover security with his implanted hackware. Nice try,
Let's say hypothetically, he got half his body blown up, and they put a bunch of technology in to replace him. And then sometime in the future, the other parts of him that they had taken out, it's like medical science had advanced, and they could reconstruct him again. And now there's two of them walking around. So which one's the real him?
We're leaving.
This is the corpse of Theseus I'm talking about here.
No joke. Or you could...
The corpse of Theseus. Well, we weren't paying attention to this at all.
You don't...
This is the guy who organized the insurrection thing.
Easy.
Okay, so clearly he's telling us...
I can't do that, so I'm going to have to try to...
Well, you could have fought him, but she would probably have gotten hurt in the process.
Stand down, Hanser.
Hands.
I told you. Stand down or this bitch is
I
dead.
forget. He says something about like, this is bigger than us. I'm on the right
I'm a
side.
decorated vet. And I won't be jerked around. I need to find out who's behind this, and right now the boss lady is my only
Listen to me.
Whatever's going on, it's
Better
big.
chance to get
You've got a
going.
better chance of getting to the
Listen,
bottom of
give
it
me that
if you
gun.
work with me.
So basically,
You don't
he's
even
trying
know how
to
to
say
hold it.
that he's justified and that he's on the trail of something bigger and worse, which seems like the kind of
I
thing
don't work with dogs.
you wouldn't believe when you're in a
God, you must
hostage.
think I'm
You know,
some kind
he's
of
taking
moron.
hostages, but then
And who
again,
can blame you?
this
'Cause
wouldn't
it's
be a
exactly
game
what
if
it
we
must
just
look
capped
like
him
in
right
every
here.
right now. Trapped in here by
Which,
cops and
the
my
way
only
he's
option
standing,
is
we
to take
could.
Well, we certainly have right to. I mean, he's not even.
I'm saying that
he's not even
I
observing
could shoot
proper
him
trigger
with-
discipline.
I could...
Like he means to shoot her. He's not just threatening
He's
to.
past empathy. I'm going to have to...
Humble. You were played for.
No, he's not going to respond to that.
Well, you don't. Well,
You're doing better than you think. No, he's not going to respond to that either.
don't. Yeah, he doesn't need his ego flattered.
You just think that taking a hostage is your only way out of here. You're so committed to that tactic, you're not seeing any other solution. Let her go, and you will.
See, at this point,
But I got no choice.
you cap him when his
I've got
gun is
exploited
down.
my advantage. And
And as long as I hold on to
Cap the gun and then cap him and then cap his gun. Trim that scraggly beard.
Well, it applies in his case. Okay, so clearly the reason I feel like
Only thing the cops are focused on right now is safety. Same as you. Risk is not my priority. That goes. How many gives?
Well,
That's actually.
I mean,
that plays well if he's a psychopath that wants attention, but I mean, does that
well,
sound
he's
like...
claiming.
Okay.
Well, he's claiming he's not though. He's
He
claiming
didn't
that
give me
he
the
has a
option.
reason.
Holding a civilian doesn't get you respect. It barely gets you noticed.
Put it
The
down.
hostage is
He's
my
basically
only
trying to,
priority. And that
tell
goes
him
double
he
for the
can.
cops out there.
This is one of the elements of the game that
Trust
was interesting is that
Nobody
he's
gives
supposed
a
you're,
damn about
you
some
know,
coward who hides
you
behind a
can
skirt.
well,
I'm not a coward. But my back's to the wall here.
well, he's thinking about it. But he's
You know what?
whoop.
We're done talking. The puto who tricked my brother thought he had us beat, but we are so much tougher than he counted on.
Well, I don't think we convinced
and
him.
anybody else who
of
helped
anything.
him. And when I do, they're gonna.
I
see
don't know
angel
what the
of vengeance in
combination is, or
action.
maybe there isn't one. Maybe you have to.
I know?
Well, you have one more time. Well, you haven't empathized with him yet. I mean, I suppose it's the only thing we haven't tried, but it might be too late. That's a little less ego strokey. That's a little more genuine, like, if you don't want this to go south. Because
Yeah,
he hasn't.
and you already did the reason thing.
And he
Yeah, I
hasn't-
think this is when empathize actually
You've got more
comes
honor
into
than the man who betrayed you.
play.
You're not going to let
In
your
my
guard down
opinion,
like this.
Well, I feel like
hacker
we
was
probably needed to
expecting
pay more
civilians
attention to
to be
what
in
he
the
was
building
saying
tonight.
originally, because it might have
You
given
were
us a clue
supposed
of
to take
how to
hostages
best get
and
through
force
them.
the cops to silence
Because from what
you.
I gather, the original Deus Ex
Smarter than he is.
was supposed to have been the kind of game you could win
Can't believe I didn't see it till
in
now.
any way. Like, you could either max out your ability to talk and convince people, or you could stealth, or you could...
Oh, she left.
Oh, he did it. So,
I did what
well,
you
hey,
wanted.
what about us? We ain't
So let
so
me go.
stupid after all.
I got played here too, I say.
I've got as much interest in finding out who's really behind this as you do, Cameron.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll owe you
Well,
one, but
there
I
you go.
promise you this.
Now, if I remember correctly, this game, like, obviously we managed to convince our way out of this. I do think they force confrontations with some of the bosses later. It's like, no, you have to fight this guy, which
Sanders is
some
gone.
people I remember being mad about. The people who
Pretty
had
sure
played
it's
the
just a
original
few.
were
Somebody
kind of
else set
like,
this up.
you know,
Damn it. Okay, I want you back here now.
they wanted that level of depth again, where you could solve problems in any number of ways. But
Jensen out.
Where am I going?
I don't know. X. X marks the spot. Who's that? What kind of uniform they making you wear, dude?
She's still in there. I need to know that she's okay.
Greg Thorpe.
Let's talk to Greg.
My wife, is she all right?
She's fine. A little
How
shaken
does
up.
that?
though.
How does he
Swap
know
it.
his wife is? He didn't even tell him who his wife is.
She's fine.
My wife's in there. She's fine. Shut up. Get out of here.
She's fine.
Beat it.
Oh, she's dead. Oh yeah, sorry. That's
Oh,
the
that
broad-
was her. I
that's
didn't
the
ask
bro-
who your wife was. I
That's
saw.
the, that's the broad I capped by accident.
I didn't recognize
Sorry.
It probably was too. Yeah, she's fine. Her name's this. This is her picture. Oh crap. She's fine. Definitely. She's in a much better place. Anyways. Oh, hey, it's our friend. Or my friend, maybe. You may not like her as much as I do. I thought that
She
she
looks
was.
a little like Coconut Head, to be honest.
Don't.
I know a
How
lot of people
dare
have tonight, Jensen.
Look at her.
No, she doesn't. She at least looks like a woman.
No.
She doesn't look like
They
a
pay you
chimp
for
boy.
interest
She
in other
looks
people.
like a woman.
You found a way to satisfy everyone.
That's
Dr.
not
Reed was
even.
telling the truth about
What?
Megan,
I'm
what are you
okay.
talking about now?
That song's been
Before you were
adapted so
fired.
many times. You're
You said
seriously
the
gonna.
papers were lying
Well,
about
because that
Max
wasn't
Brown.
even anywhere near
You
the
weren't
same
fired from the force.
context.
You
All I'm
It
saying
was
is.
100%. Feel like a woman versus look like a woman.
Nice to
You're
see
seriously
you.
squabbling about one
Ready
word?
to go?
Not yet. I have no idea what
Not
you
yet.
just said.
I think she's asking if we're ready to go.
Not yet. Isn't that great?
I think she's asking. I think this
Are
mission's
we
done.
actually ready?
We could probably wander around. I mean, we could just wander and pick stuff up, but I don't know that we'd gain much from it.
Oh. Yeah, let's get it.
What was that? You had some sort of a
Your wish is
spasm.
my command.
Oh.
I'm in.
How dare you bring up the chimp in this context? Did we ever explain our problems with the chimp?
I don't know.
We've explained our problems with House, but I don't know.
We're gonna have to be we have to tread very lightly with our descriptors because
No, it was a chimp. It wasn't an actor. It was a trained monkey.
and that had nothing to do with
Don't
anything.
bring it up because
had
then
nothing to
people,
do
then
with
you're
anything
gonna
other than-
you're gonna plant it in their minds.
other than the fact that it was a horrible actress. Horrible.
The fact that you would even defend that, though, is going to plant in people's minds the idea that perhaps, secretly it's because they're racist or sexist. You could have just left it at what I said, and most people wouldn't have cared.
Most people probably don't even know what
Exactly.
we're talking
That was what I was banking on.
about.
Whew.
So I'm enjoying this game so far. It's good.
Yeah, I am too. It's been a long time since I played it. This is one of the games that I have played it many times as, time will pass and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I think it's time to play that again.
Never once have we played it on the TV with one side of the TV giving us the screen and the other giving us an epileptic fit.
Yeah, sadly the TVs. We're having to still capture natively from OBS and view the OBS review screen because the TV's acting up. But anyways,
New
first
orders
world
just in,
problems.
Jensen. The boss wants to
No
examine
joke.
Typhoon ASAP.
I
Thanks for
feel
the
like
list.
some of these topics
No
that I
problem.
have are so old that I don't
Hey,
even know
and,
how to
Jensen.
segue into them.
I just wanted to say,
Just saying.
your look suits you.
That sounded like a segue, didn't it?
Just say it. Say it.
How's it feel? Being augmented.
How's it feel being augmented? I could show you how it feels.
I mean, I've got a few neuro enhancements.
She's
myself,
asking us
discrete
about
ones to help me fly
Our
better.
electric
But I chose to get them implanted.
It isn't Afghan electrickery.
electric boogaloo. That's what that meant. That's what that was. in
She's got
reference.
electric boobs. I think it's moves, isn't it, in the
I
actual
thought it was
song?
boots for some reason.
Really? I think it's moves, but
Why do I think it's boots then? That doesn't
well,
even make
moves
sense.
made sense for him because
No, it doesn't. He doesn't have boobs. They made the mistake on the opportunity.
intrigued. I have no
I'm
idea
intrigued
what
by
you
your
said.
electric boobs.
Today I felt good.
Today I felt
good.
surprisingly good.
Just to get augmented.
My electric boobs
I still don't
are.
know if I would have if
coming
given a
in handy.
choice. But today felt good.
Is it some kind of like
Surprisingly
chest-mounted massage device that just they built into his torso?
Just be careful, okay? A lot of people
Dr.
think there's a
Reed
reason
said
the
you
human
take
body
them.
rejects this technology over time.
I didn't pay you
Oh,
for the type
boy.
that gets caught up in metaphysical debates.
Metaphysical debates.
I'm
Oh,
not. I told
prescient.
you myself, I've got neuro
Let's have
enhancements.
ourselves one of them.
I'm just saying.
Except
the
I don't
choices
think there's any
you
on this
make have
list.
different consequences.
Metaphysical debate.
Tell that
Nope,
to the
don't see
bastard
any of
who
that.
gets me.
I hear
Nope, don't like that.
You're not the only person in this place who
Did
wants
you
to find
did
it.
you have
So
our
if I can
reflection
help
of the
in any way,
newest
all you gotta do
Randy
is ask.
on there at all?
I don't recall. Well, I don't think so. Was that? There's a better one. Forget mine. You said a while back you had some. You never added, so I'm blaming this on you.
I said something about something I never added. What is that?
You had mentioned that you had topics that you didn't add to there, and that you were going to bring them out as you wanted. So bring them out.
Well, I was
Well,
going to
get
talk
them out.
about. Well, I can't
Ask
just
about the first attack.
jump in.
You told me to
willy-nilly.
jump in,
Actually, there is
so I'm
something.
pushing you.
Well,
know how
I
the first
I
attack-
had a thought the other day about
Ask away.
the concept of Sonder and the idea that
Okay.
I
Metaphysical ahoy.
and the fact that
What
so
is-
for
I
those
have
that
heard
don't
that word, but I
understand
forget the name
or
of
don't
what
know
it
what it
means.
is, it's basically like your awareness or at least consideration that everyone on Earth has
Oh, it's
lived
that
a
word.
full
Okay.
or somewhat.
Everyone
you know.
has the same voice in their head that you do.
Well, not just that, but that they've lived a full life and they have
Well,
like they have their own thoughts and
but
things
arguably,
going
isn't
on.
that the same thing? Isn't
Well,
all that
that's-
exists the voice in your head?
I'm like, well, actually, there's
I just noticed he's got some
there's
kind
a
of
there's a
grandma's
worthwhile
carpet pattern
argument
on his shoulders.
there's a worthwhile argument that prevents you from really embracing Sonder if you desire. So if you so desire to get that metaphysical and that,
What?
I mean, I'm discussing the
You gotta
idea
keep
that
the conversation going on both fronts.
let's talk about the mercs.
Did anyone else
How about the mercs?
Not well enough.
Merc.
Pritchard got some fuzzy images off one of the intelligence.
And so anyway, I thought we'd talk about that because I think for me specifically,
I heard
I
homicide
actually
passed it over to special investigations.
have
Detroit
I
Special
don't struggle with that at all.
They did.
In that I
First
tend
month.
to consider everyone's
All I really know is
inner-
the case is still pending, and Mr. Seraph
their
is
own
off.
life and their perspectives valid, just as valid as my own, if not, But that's not always the case because sometimes you never know whether people need to just not
Oh, but
be
that's
given
not.
the time of
But
day.
that's not the same.
What
I
do
don't
you
think that's the
remember about
same
That it
meaning
was
of the
chaos.
word because it's not
First,
just the idea that
everybody
everybody
figured
you
there
meet
had been some
is
kind
a
of accident, but Pritchard couldn't
person.
get a good visual.
Well,
on the
kind of.
communication.
No,
I mean,
it's saying. Well, it's the. I think it's
Explosions.
the what definition I've heard of
Time
it is
anyone
that
knew
it's
where they
the
hid us.
They were
recognition
gone.
that everybody has
They were
the same sort of internal monologue as
training
you,
good.
but it's different because it's theirs and not yours, and they go off and do different things, and that's so, and you are to them
I'm
what they
thinking
are
about
to
why they
you.
attacked.
You're just a passing person
What they
on
were
in the
really
middle of
after.
their day.
Isn't it obvious?
Well, and that
They didn't
I
want us
mean,
going to Washington.
if you there's a
No, that was just timing.
test of some
Hearings can
kind
be rescheduled.
in
Somebody else can present Megan's findings.
philosophy that
I don't think so. Jensen.
states basically
They
that
took out her whole
uh,
team.
She does this
Declan
weird
Fair.
motion
in
with
order
her
to
arms a
prove
lot.
that really the only reality is the reality that we have in
Look
our
at her.
own
She does it a lot. She
Well,
does a
burnt
little
to
bit
a
of the
crisp.
weird chicken dance.
chicken.
The only reason you weren't caught
Like
in
she
the
kinda
fire
goes,
is because that
"Eh."
retaining wall came down.
Maybe that suit's
Saved your
uncomfortable.
life,
She's
believe it
kind
or
of
not.
airing out her arms.
It's built-in AC.
Yeah,
She's trying to-
sometimes when you're wearing a leather
Sure looks
jacket,
that
it
way.
can kind of get up
Mr.
in your
Seraph is
armpits and
hoping
kind
to
of shake
reconstruct
him a
it, but
little
it may
bit.
take months if he can keep us solvent that
but
long.
It works again.
I'm gonna
but I
find
think
him, Malik, one way or another.
I believe
that the
And just so
that
you know,
if you've
when you
ever there's a
back.
perspective essentially
I
in
appreciate
philosophy
Malik,
that says
but right now,
the
You've gotta
way
get to
to
Typhoon and
identify
talk
that
about
really
it,
the
right.
only
See you
reality
later
or
then.
objective reality
Oh, and
is
Jensen,
the own
the boss
your own
wants a
reality in
face-to-face
your head
debrief in his office
is to
once it's
say
clear.
prove you go
Roger
up to
that.
somebody and you say prove to me
Good night,
essentially
Malik.
that you exist in the same way I exist, and there's no way that they can do that because obviously their internal monologue and
But that's a
discussion with themselves is
that's
gonna be
supposed to
different
be
than-
some sort of solipsistic argument.
well yeah
or-
I was about to say it's solipsism 100%. I mean
Well, but that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can't prove it, but then at that point, you could just as easily respond by saying "screw you,"
handling security around here?
okay
because it's one of
that's one way to go with the
well,
argument.
it kind of is because it is one of those. There was I forget the name of it, but there's basically the way you can.
Another attack? Can't
I
wait
don't wanna
see
say
what the
shut
Manning
down.
front says about it this time.
But it's like you could confront someone who's making an argument like that, which has where you have to say, can you even conceive of there being proof against this? And if the answer is no, then that means it's an untestable hypothesis and is therefore useless. Because if you
Well,
can't,
is that
because if you're a
solipsistic, though?
scientist,
Because I
well,
feel
not
like-
exactly, but my point is, if you're a scientist and you're trying to prove something, you have to, in your
It has to be
mind,
measurable,
know
yes, exactly.
what am I looking for that would disprove this.
right
If I were to find this, that would mean I'm wrong.
right
So if you would have to come up to them when it's like saying, okay, if they can't tell you what the conditions would be for them to be wrong, then it means they're not presenting you with anything that can be proven, and therefore you may as well just dismiss it.
well and I suppose I would
You want to go
what am
back
I
in the
actually
building.
trying to do
X
because
marks the spot.
the X marks the spot
This is like textbook back of the cereal box map following.
but I suppose my desire
Get us a
to
vending
consider or embrace Sonder is that I think a lot of people, whether or not they would admittedly suggest that they're solipsistic, tend to be fairly myopic in their
Well,
perspectives.
those are very different, though.
well,
To simply be focused on yourself isn't the same as to think you're the only one that exists.
Is
Because
it though?
No,
I
because
mean,
the prospect of solipsism is the idea that everything is a figment of your imagination. That nothing exists except for you. And that's very different than saying, "Oh, I'm just focused on
it's
my
different
own."
maybe in theory and abstract. It's not different in practice. You know
No,
what I mean?
because with solipsism, you could justify some pretty heinous acts towards the entire.
Well, that
humanity.
actually is very true, I suppose. And then, but well, in the sense that a purely logical person, if they're even then, even a purely logical person that doesn't have any specific emotional
His name's
tie
Frank. I don't think I knew that his name was
would
Frank.
have some degree of, well, self-preservation would say, if I do this,
Okay.
I'm going to have a problem with those around me, even if they are figments of my imagination. And if you know what I mean? Like, self-preservation would say, I can't just go around killing people
Well,
willy-nilly.
no, because if you really truly believed in the solipsistic argument, then you'd believe that they were you, and then you should theoretically have some say in what they do. Because that would be what I'd say to someone who genuinely believed that. I'd go, well, then you're Hitler.
He looked like
He just
Hitler.
goes like, do you want to take credit for that? Because you're going to have to if you believe that was just a figment, you created that.
Are you suggesting Hitler was solipsistic?
No, I'm saying if you believe that you're the only thing that exists, and then therefore that means you had to have created that.
Right.
Which means that's you. So I don't think any of the people who truly believe that are quite willing to make that argument, or maybe they are too willing to make that argument. I don't think I've ever met a single person who
Actually,
unironically would claim that, though.
right. No, that's true. I mean, most of the time it's just
it's a thought experiment. More than
yeah,
anything.
exactly, within a philosophical, framework. But yes, I completely agree. The thing I'm getting at is more, do people actually live with Sonder in mind, I suppose, because if everyone has lived a full life and actually has their own thoughts and perspectives and things like that, why don't we
I heard you were nearly a goner.
recognize that we all live in a interconnected or well, now we're getting into Zen a little bit, but an interconnected world in which we don't live in a vacuum. I mean, the things that we do and
No, elevators have buttons.
do they? I thought that they just went like most elevators do.
No, you have to push a button in an elevator to tell it where to go.
They do.
If you don't push an elevator in the button, if you don't push a button in the elevator's not going to move. Or at least it's not going to move until someone else pushes the button.
I'm telling you.
Anyway,
you
I'm
may
just
not have
saying,
put the gun in Sanders' hand.
I think
It
if
was
people
Taggart's
really
speech to the
embrace
UN that
Sonder
started all this.
on a broader level, they
William
would be
Taggart
able
is
to
nothing
actually
if
have
not a
more
shrewd political operator.
maybe empathetic
You know that.
point of view on other people.
Yeah,
For the
but
sake of appearances.
wouldn't
look 'em
peace
in the eye
and justice
let
and
'em
love for all
bullshit me.
humanity be nice too?
With
But
a
it's one of
smile.
those things. It's like,
Always with a smile.
Well,
what is just to say it means what?
it may not be.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could all get
Attainable.
along?
Later.
Wouldn't it be nice
What?
if we
Oh, it was a
were
hologram.
younger?
Wouldn't it be nice if you were less of a dick?
The issue I have is
Ooh, he's got a fancy engraved arm. He's got all sorts of like filigree and stuff on it.
Get her to get a
is
checkup.
he a cyborg?
Well, he's got an arm. I don't know if it's.
He's got an arm.
I think that's his only change.
It wasn't even a cyborg arm. I was just making that statement. He's got an
He
arm.
does have one too. Take charge or gamble. I have.
What?
We need to pay more attention to what they're saying because we're just, or maybe we shouldn't. It's funny. Gamble.
Hoping it'll pay off later.
Well, that sounds awfully unresponsible. So let's not say. I'm hoping it'll be all right. Oh, he's mad that we let the guy go. Well, then this makes the most sense. That's our.
Redirect to
That
me.
was at least our reasoning, is because he was claiming
And
there
I
was something
did.
else behind it.
The Typhoon is safe. Sanders didn't know about it. He didn't even know his hacker was augmented. He's not the master.
Anyway, I just think I'm not. I mean,
you cut him
just
a break?
because it's maybe
The man
unattainable
broke
doesn't
into
mean
my
it's a
facility
worthwhile.
and
It's not a
took
worthwhile
hostages, Adam.
goal or
I thought you
endeavor.
were ready
Well,
for this.
I think empathy is a little bit of an over. People think that it would solve all of our problems, and it
No,
wouldn't.
I'm not. I'm not trying to make a case for like a higher case for empathy than it deserves. I'm just saying
That hacker,
that
Sanders Group.
if people got
sure
outside
he
of
was
their
augmented?
own,
I pulled his cables out
like there's
myself.
there's a bit of
Police
a
are saying he's not, and they're refusing to let me
the
see
survival of the
body,
fittest
no matter
concept,
how
which
much
I
money
embrace,
threaten to
and
pull
I
from
say
no
if you're an
time
idiot,
fund.
that's on you, and you that people that are idiots just kind of get weeded out as life goes on. But that being said, idiots have lives too, I suppose. Now, it's not my job to specifically... what would I do here? I'm in a scolding mood, but I don't know if that'll help me.
I don't know that it'll help in this circumstance. You seem awfully in a placative mood, given that you want to consider everyone's life and feelings.
Maybe someone else is offering more.
I suppose.
So what do you want me to do with this?
Here's what I mean. And here's what I don't mean. I suppose I'll say it this way first. Here's what I don't mean.
You think,
You ought not live your life for other people. And I don't think that's what Saunders getting
get over to
at.
the station
I
and
think
find a
it's
way
more
inside.
saying
Because if that hacker was augmented,
you have to have the
there's
same
no
amount
help
of
might
respect
tell
for
us who he
others
was.
and their opinions that you
Contact
do
me when
of
you've
your
gotten a
own,
hold of it.
at least
No, you don't.
ability to have.
You don't have to respect others' opinions just because they have them. If they're reprehensible opinions.
Well, I'm not suggesting reprehensible. I'm just saying.
Well, but some people are going to have those. So you can't just say, well, because they have opinions, they must be accepted.
Well, I'm not accepted and agreed upon are not the same thing. I'm just simply
Well,
saying
no,
they have
I
to
could
be...
absolutely say you believe this, therefore I'm not going to associate with you.
Well, again, that's not... I don't have a problem not associating with somebody, but I think sometimes we... Well, case in point, when one of the things that you do as you have disagreements with people that are quite significant, you tend to dehumanize their perspectives and their,
Well,
whatever.
that's
rather
technically
than,
just a logical fallacy, though. That's
well,
not a-
that's what I'm getting at. I mean, just
We're just going to sit around here awkwardly shaking and
debate.
giving... Okay.
You're asking
He's
me to
asking
do
us to do something
not
illegal. I think he wants us
I
to break into the
already
morgue.
placated
No,
him.
it isn't.
So
You got a problem with that?
That seems like a little bit of a weak sauce backing off. You're asking me to do something illegal. Yeah, is that all right? Sure, I thought I'd bring it up.
as a matter of fact, I do.
Well, I feel like you already brought it up. I mean, you
Well,
don't. It feels a
As a
little.
matter of fact, I do.
Look, Adam. You know the police never fully investigated that first attack, don't you?
Well, I
Yes,
guess that.
But nothing. We lost a lot of good people, top people. And I'm beginning to think
well,
Detroit PD doesn't give a damn.
His shirt, everything
Some of the
about what he's
sports
wearing
trips,
just
people
looks like it's
dark.
plastic.
And in
Even
your
the
world,
shirt
ends
underneath his
justify the
shirt.
means.
He is a robot.
My world is your
Well, maybe
world.
that, you know what? I'm giving him too much credit.
If
Maybe
getting
that
girl
one
how illegally will
non-robotic
show us
arm
who's
is the
behind
only
these attacks.
non-robotic part of
Maybe
him.
even help us go after them.
He got augmented
Yeah,
and was
yeah,
like, "Hey,
right.
you know what? Can you give me a rad-looking
go.
suit? I want a rad-looking techno suit."
All right. So now.
Are you? What were you? So did you finish your point?
Well, I mean, I don't feel like I haven't made it. I think it's just a worthwhile endeavor to at least consider that Sonder may be a useful tool in humanizing other people's.
But I don't feel like
arguments, I
anyone
suppose.
would. It's one of those things where it's like no one would deny that. You walked up to someone and was like, "Hey, did it occur to you that these people have, their own lives and opinions and their experiences?"
Well, I'm just
No
saying,
one
what
would be
that
like,
change?
no,
'Cause
I don't-
typically we think of perspectives in singularity, I suppose, and saying, well, this is their perspective and this is my perspective. It's like, okay, what motivated their perspective? What are some of the experiences they've had in order to... Because then you can change people's minds. Does that make sense? I mean, I can begin to understand and perhaps adjust somebody's perspective if I fully understand where they're coming from. But before I do that, I'm going to have a worse off time because
the
then
question is, why are you doing that? Why does it matter to you?
well, sometimes it doesn't, and I would agree that at times you just say it doesn't matter, and it doesn't. This is something that's worth my time. But I'm just saying, if it is worth your time, and there are people that you particularly, I'm gonna wash my hands just because I felt like it.
You probably could actually if you use the sink. I bet you.
Well, I gotta use this first. Where's it? Can
It's
I?
down there. You got it.
Oh,
Oh
okay,
wow,
I'm just flushing
that
it,
is a
that's all.
wasteful amount of water for a urinal. It didn't need to be that thorough. There you go. That's some attention to detail. Oh, you're gonna leave it on.
Yes, I am.
Just gonna walk up to my boss's office, leave the sink running. This is for asking me to break the law.
breaking the law. Anyway, what are some metaphysical arguments you want to make?
I don't know. I don't know. I read a book, which is a worthwhile thing for people to read, called Against Empathy.
Yes,
and
you
it's
had
not
mentioned
as
this
and
one
people
before
think
in the past.
people get sort of frustrated about it because they think that it's some sort of like anti-social against people thing, and it makes the case that actually it's not that, because usually speaking, when people act out of empathy, they act more irrationally and then make things worse.
Which I don't disagree with. I think if you are an empathetic person, you have to consider that truth, because
Judgment is
otherwise
skewed. I think you have to go up.
Because otherwise you will be doomed to only act on emotion rather than logic, having emotion.
Now here's, I think, a relevant...
inform to a degree, and then having logic ultimately make a decision.
I think this is your office. Here you go. So the green map X's, I believe, are side objectives, and the yellow ones are the mission objectives.
Green
So,
map? What do you...
like, for example, we didn't have to come to our office, but it was part of the side quest to do this. So I'm just saying that's something to point out now, because it will be valuable later to know how to do that. Anyway, so I find that a lot of... So again, I think it's just people often think, oh, well, life would be just a whole lot better if it was... Uh-oh. We forgot our own password.
Well, are you suggesting that I'm saying that empathy is the only...
Well, not the only, but I mean, like, it seems to be the only reason for the case for whatever you're talking about.
No.
I don't know that you want to hack your own computer. You could probably talk to the guy who's in your office. He might be telling you something about your computer.
Yeah, I changed the password while we were gone.
No.
Oh, he ate a bad burrito.
Hey, Jensen. Man, it's good to see you. I'm glad you're back. How are you holding up?
Funny.
I manage.
I'm not suggesting empathy is all. I'm saying it. Yes, it needs to be kept in balance. I think that empathy ought to be controlled and
Yeah. Tough times all around.
perhaps regulated is a better word by logic.
Okay.
I don't know.
But I think that empathy actually can serve as a useful tool.
I mean, bad.
For
What happened?
inspiration
Well, a couple of
and
months
for
ago, me and
of
Tyndall,
others, meaning and
one of Pritchard's
influence
techs,
of others and all
we
kinds of
started
things.
sneaking
I mean,
out some neuropazine from one of
it's
the
just
labs.
how you go
Jesus,
about
Tim.
using it, because I
Realize
agree.
you could get fired,
By and large,
worse,
especially
arrested
people that are
if the company
empathetic,
chooses
tend
to
to
prosecute.
overuse
What
and
were
in
you
fact
thinking?
I know.
almost-
It's just, it's complicated.
Well, there is the
I
cult
didn't want to do it at
of...
first, but
power
Well,
is, I
again,
mean,
it's the
like
whole thing
this-
that Jordan Peterson talks
now
about
I
of
want
the
out, but
actual
Tyndall has
damaging,
security footage of me stealing the stuff. And says he'll expose me if I
authoritarianism
ever
of...
stop helping
Oh,
him.
what does he call it?
I'm in a bad spot.
You're talking about the
Adam.
idea that if
He
you
referred to it as the something about the
I know you're busy with
authoritarianism
everything that's
of
going on right now, but I
good
could really
intentions or
use your
something.
help.
right,
It's like
exactly.
this idea that, oh, we have to make everyone safe and comfortable and make everyone feel happy, and then that the only way to do that is, of course, to completely limit everyone's ability to be free because of the fear that you might offend or upset or one of those things. And so it's like you have to acknowledge that in a free society you're going to get offended and other people are going to be hurt, and that these aren't things that you can avoid nor should you try to.
Well, I think that you can. Yeah, it's.
How about Tyndall?
And I'm not even specifically
Can't you
saying
reason
that's
with
the
him?
best use
You
of,
could try,
of
but
empathy.
Tyndall's a
What I'm
pretty
saying
driven
is
guy.
there are times
the guy's
empathy
like a
can
rock.
serve you, and
You need a
if
Casey og or
if
something
the
to crack
moment arises that it's not serving you,
Social
then of course I
It's an
would say
augmentation
don't use
designed
it.
to read people's
Which is why
reactions and
I'm not
behavioral
opposed to reading that book. I haven't
Higher end
specifically
series
read it,
even
but I
allows you to
have
directly
actually
influence people
said
with
to you I think
pheromones
it
or
would be a worthwhile book to read just because I think it would be interesting.
Now, that's a random social question.
What?
He just brought up that there's
You're
some kind of
opposite.
augmentation in this that
What
allows
could you
that
guys
helps
want with an
people
anti-rejection
read
drug for augmentation
like
patients?
social cues
Reselling
and
it.
things.
Providing
That's
a
that
competitor.
that
Why do
becomes
you
a
automatically
strange
assume I was
because
trying
that's
to
no
turn a
longer
profit?
just augmentation in the sense of like, oh yeah, my arm is super strong. That's like if you could actually augment your, because like what would the science behind that be? Where you're going, we're
Probably
gonna,
just reading analyzing body language, like
but how
micro
would that-
expression and
yeah, but how would that be a like is that just a chip in your brain that does
Pretty
that? I
ballsy
mean,
stealing a
that's
patented drug from a secure
Huh.
lab.
that's a
How'd you
weird
manage to do
thought.
it?
both Tyndall and I work the night shift every other week.
I feel like if ever these sorts of augmentations were to come around, those would be the more ethical questions. Not like, whoa, would you hack off a limb in order to have it replaced with a stronger thing? It's like, well, that's a bit drastic, don't you think? Where it's like, oh, hey, you want to put this chip in your brain that helps you do this? I'd be like, oh, okay. If it was like, hey, put this chip in your head and become smarter at math, it'd be like, well,
I need you to get back that security footage Tyndall has.
I could see that being more tempting than hacking off a limb.
On his computer, maybe.
So what?
Basically, I think we've completely ignored what this guy's saying, but it's something about...
Trying now not to, but...
It's something about how he and someone of his colleagues were
that's just great.
stealing some sort of medicine from the company, and I'm not sure why we as the security officer haven't already turned him in. But I think there's some reason why he's trying to get us to help, because it would affect more than just him.
And I should care about this because...
Yeah, I don't remember.
Are you really going to shake me
Clearly,
down
the
like
dialogue in this game is better than I remember, because it actually is hard to follow along when you're not following along. You can't just mash your way through the conversations.
Well, that's actually a positive case for this game.
Well, that's what I was saying. But it does mean that when we're not paying attention, things get hard. Well,
what should I do? Because I honestly don't know. Is it ethical or not?
Quest details. Well, we have to.
I already said
well,
this.
But we kind of need to.
The task is he needs me to.
What is it exactly you need me to do?
I need you to get back that security footage Tyndall has on me.
Oh, so he and another guy were doing this, and now the other guy's blackmailing him is why.
So what? I just look him up in the phone book?
His apartment is near Brooklyn Court. It might be tough to get in because his building has a large security gate.
I suppose that would be unjust in that it would only mean one of them goes
Hacking the
instead of
security
both of
gate is
them.
possible, but would require advanced
But I don't know why we wouldn't just blow the whistle on the both of them at that point. But
maybe use the
again, I just was talking about how you should forget about other people's opinions. So I don't know. I mean, you could just say no, but then we just don't have a side quest to do. I mean, does that matter?
I don't care.
Okay, well, it's up to you, I guess.
I just don't know what I would do because I wasn't listening to the conversation well enough.
Well, basically, dude was stealing drugs, and the other guy's got dirt on him and is using it against him.
And he's wanting us to basically cover it up?
Well, it does kind of sound that way. It didn't sound like it was any other thing. I mean, I don't know that there's an option just to fire both of them and say, no, you both get arrested for this. Because, I mean, I can understand the idea that it isn't just for one guy to take the fall and the other guy to get off. But that doesn't mean that the only logical solution is to cover the whole thing up. I don't know. I don't much...
Do you do side quests?
I did a lot of them. I don't know if I ever did all of them because...
All right, I'll do it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Really? Wow. Thanks, Adam. I thought I was
done.
done.
Break into a guy's apartment, so
the
we're
security
really
footage will probably be on his apartment computer. Meet me in front of the subway station parking lot once you get a hold of it.
Anyway,
I got it.
Well, shot that one down like it wasn't that interesting.
Well, we've been talking about it for like 20 minutes. I mean, we got discussion out of it. I just don't know that I'm quite in the same boat. Is that what you wanted? Were you open to put me in your boat?
No, I'm not at all. I mean, I think you are misunderstanding which boat I'm getting in. Because I'm not specifically rejecting the... I'm not specifically
That's the boat I'm
rejecting
in. That's the boat I'm always in.
The notion of logic over... or reason, I suppose, over emotion. I'm just saying...
Well, my point is I think it's one of those things that nobody would deny it. If you confronted them, it was like, hey, did you see this? Would you recognize this? They'd be like, well, yeah. I mean, the argument that they're not, that from an outside perspective, people might not recognize from an outsider's perspective that they were, what am I trying to say? They might, well, it's like from a third person view, the way most people would appear as if they didn't recognize it. So you could then, I suppose, confront them with the fact that their actions don't align with that, and that might then inspire them to do something differently.
Yeah.
But I think just to say, like, oh, did you consider this? And then they would just be like, well, yeah. So I don't know. Because again, how are you expecting people would behave differently on a literal, practical day by day level? Like, I want you to look at a random person on the bus and think about the life they've probably lived.
No. That's way too much. That's way too much information.
They got a lot of people scrubbing windows in this office.
Well, it's got to be squeaky clean. Where am I going?
Well, there's a map. And
I know how you say that, and it's just a bunch of arrows and...
There's no numbers! The arrows are the things you're going towards.
So I'm now sitting on top of the yellow arrow, and it's a wall.
Well, what would that imply, then, when you're in a multi-level building?
That I need to talk to...
That the floor will be painted? It means that clearly...
Obviously, it's up a level or down a level, but I don't
Up a level, down a level, give a dog a bone. Is it up? It doesn't appear to be up. I think it's down.
How are you ascertaining that information?
But given that you went up, because it will become... Notice how it becomes an X. It'll become an X when you're on the same level as the thing. It's an arrow implying that you need to go down. Or you need to go to a different level. I actually think... Hang on. Go back up again. This may have been something I never noticed. It becomes a triangle, but if you notice, the triangle is pointed downwards. Mm-hmm. So that might actually imply that the triangle will tell you if you need to go up or down. Now I want to confirm that when you see if there's ever a time when the target is above and maybe the arrow's the other way. I don't think I ever noticed that. I just knew that if it wasn't an X, you weren't on the same level.
All over the office, Mr. J. You really took care.
Mr. J.
No, I'm not. I don't think we're in a different boat. I think you're misunderstanding my argument. I'm not suggesting that you care about every single person on a bus. What I'm saying is when you're talking and interacting with people, it serves you well when you consider that their perspectives are informed by experiences that they've had.
Yeah, but that doesn't make them right.
Oh, I'm not suggesting it makes them right.
Well,
what
so
I'm suggesting is
speaking
to it helps you use your influence to sway them the opposite direction.
Well, I mean, I suppose if that's all you're saying, then sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, then. It helps to make an argument when you know the opposing position. Is that all you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly.
Because then that's just just at that point. That's
well,
not
yes, but I'm saying Sonder is a useful tool in that. I mean,
and please,
Cassandra, who's this?
Cassandra. You and Megan were together long enough.
Megan, is she like related to her?
I was waiting for you.
Was this our pseudo stepmom?
Why not come meet me inside?
Not stepmom.
I don't know.
Mother-in-law.
Adam, what have you done?
What? This is where you were.
What?
Because he's half cyborg now.
Well, she would presumably know that we got blown to bits.
Maybe she doesn't.
Well, then I suppose she's in for a shock.
Detached.
I could detach something else. Hey, you want to see this? If you had,
I know what you mean. I didn't listen.
I know what you mean. I would like you to go away now. If you had one of these prosthetic things like this and you could just pull it off, would you do that sometimes?
I love how you said thing and then just...
I mean, like, if you had a prosthetic arm or a hand and you're just like, would you ever...
What did she say?
Who cares? We are detached. Just be detached.
But what if that's a bad...
What if that's a bad...
Yeah,
what if her life's experiences will take offense to this?
Well, I guess it's the sensible
Oh,
thing
well,
to
I
do.
guess...
I just don't know if
it's
I
sensible,
think this is her mother.
Then again, after all,
Her mother. Who is her?
Because they were talking about Megan.
Do I have a her?
She brought up Megan, and so I was like, I think this is... She's trying to be like, oh, hi, how are you handling things?
At first,
And then
I couldn't even believe you were still alive.
How do you handle all this? I'm on loads of drugs.
Inspector Gadget.
I thought you were gonna say something like Inspector Narcotics. So they gave me all these augmentations, and I now have to take 50 meds every morning to make sure my body doesn't shut down. They did what they had to save me. I'm 3/4 of a man, or I'm 3/4 machine. Well, you could continue to be
detached.
I never asked for the USB port they put in my forehead. They could have at least put it in a more subtle place. Pritchard loves just every time he's got to look at something in my head, he just sticks it right out in my forehead. It looks ridiculous.
Should I be optimistic?
I don't know. Are you optimistic?
Sure. Save me.
Be you is what you should be.
In a way, I can do more now than I ever could.
I'm glad to know you so well.
Well, did we discuss that to your liking? Was that enough? Or are you still bitter that I apparently...
Are you considering my Sonder? Now? Have I swayed your perspective?
Well, apparently I need to know all about your life story as to why you're offended right now.
That's not what I said.
What about it?
There's too much to talk about. I don't even want to use this anymore.
The way the case was handled.
Yeah, the problem is because we've had
I
it
can
for...
furnish you with another one, but this one's more broad and just...
Well, that's fine. As if we need
so
another... We don't need another...
locally, we were talking about how, so in our local area, there was a...
Yeah, mother's... So she's Megan's mother.
There was a mother, yes.
There's plenty of those around. Why does she look like every...
And now you want to find out
ever? She has that very sort of... middle-aged to elderly mother of adult child look.
Sure, I think that's probably what they were going for.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, why is it so... Why is it so recognizable? Is that, like, that's... Why are they all the same?
I don't know, it's an archetype.
Well, no, archetypes don't usually have physical appearance. That's more of a character. The archetype of short-haired elderly lady?
Well, that's the Karen archetype for sure.
No, that's not. That's a byproduct. The Karen archetype is the attitude. The appearance is more of a coincidence.
A funny coincidence.
Another quest without details. Details. I think she wants us to break into someone else's apartment. Reward or return? You gonna bribe her to make us do it? Well,
okay,
she is our pseudo future mother-in-law, so I mean, we probably should do it. Don't grift her. That would be really rude.
I never got a chance to investigate the attack myself.
No one cares about your feelings.
They took out my heart when they put this...
Reject empathy. What was the book called?
Against.
A Case Against Empathy. I'm joking. I'm not putting a black mark on it. No, but what I was saying was locally, we have a museum, what is it called, exhibit now, called the Van Gogh Experience or something like that.
This up.
Yeah, but we only briefly covered it, didn't we?
No, we talked, well, because neither of us have been to it, so unless you're about to tell me you've been to it, what more can you add?
Yes. No, we
because we brought up that it exists.
Well, but we didn't talk about the idea of, like, whether that, did we mention?
RoboCop's got something to say.
Did I ask the question whether that's taking or appropriating, or whether that's just expanding somebody else's artistic experience or expression? I mean,
I don't remember you bringing that up in the original conversation.
Well, there you go.
I'm not sure why you're bringing it up now either, though.
I'm just saying.
You gonna talk to RoboCop, or is he just gonna stare at you? He seems a little.
At me. Do you see my vest? I made this on my mom's couch.
That actually looks like some sort of I think he's actually part-time baseball catcher.
Yeah.
Problem, sir?
Is there a problem, sir? Yeah, that soul patch is disgraceful. You can't grow a single pube on your face and call it a soul patch.
I can't even get it into the right lighting. Look,
it is quite literally, it is grammatically speaking, a soul pube.
A soul pube.
That is a single solitary pube.
The city's a little quieter now.
He's trying to smile, but he knows it's true. He's got teeth like a frickin' mouth guard. I think it was just one giant tooth. His entire mouth.
Oh, I think you just answered maybe your own question as far as the X's go.
Did I? They have only ever turned... I don't see them turning into other shapes. They're either X's or they're not. Well, I don't know. What do you mean appropriating?
Are they, like, at what point are you taking an idea that somebody else's and
Well, technically, all that you're doing is that when you really think about it.
well, that's hence what
Original
but is that
ideas are
giving-
very few and far between.
But is that giving
it's all
credit
permutation
and like honor to the original artist, or is that actually taking
Well,
away
in this
from...
particular example, the fact that it's called the Van Gogh exhibit seems a bit like... I don't think anyone was attempting to pull a fast one.
I'm not suggesting they're pulling a fast one. I'm just asking whether they ought to leave well enough alone.
Well, then you could also then just say, well, we can't have art galleries because it's like...
Well, and that's a worthwhile argument. I'm just saying...
I don't think it's a
how is that
worthwhile argument.
different? No, I'm saying it's a worthwhile, I suppose, defense of why it's not appropriation, but I'm just...
How do these escalators work?
Where is this yellow mark? Because it wasn't down there.
Oh, hey, freestyle! Get crunk! Don't... You looking for some? I'm looking for the zipper on those pants, dude. I think that's duct tape.
Good luck finding it, whatever it is. How about my groove? Can you find that for me? Or am I throwing yours off?
He's
okay. I don't want to be a part of this dance.
He's wrapped himself in duct tape on his legs. Those weren't pants.
Do you have the same chin pube?
Does he? He does! So the police force of this city are all actually clones of one man with bad facial hair.
Either that or it's a uniform issue. It's regulation to have a chin pube.
It's not even grown. They just glue him right on.
That's what they earn at the end of the academy.
It's the end. It's actually
here's your chin pube.
it's actually part of their augmentation. It's an antenna.
It stands up straight when there's trouble about.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, we're okay. It's a police station. That's where we're going to do business.
That really is RoboCop, for sure.
Try not to start any trouble.
Try not to start
any trouble, because if you do,
he's not telling us not to start trouble. He's just asking us to try. I appreciate that as a reasonable, request.
Wait. That guy didn't have one. See, he hasn't earned his yet.
Either that or maybe he's a higher up. See, he's allowed to smoke. Chin pube
For all you know, he's
would
smoking
catch fire
because
if
he's stressed. He hasn't got through the academy yet. He really wants that pube.
Oh boy.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, does building off of somebody else's idea?
But that's not building off of their idea, though, because it's the same thing. It's not like it's not even that different. The argument is they're presenting it in a different way, but they're not acting like it's a different thing. It's the same thing through a different lens. And again, they seem to be giving plenty of credit where credit is due in this particular example that you brought up.
I do want to actually go see it at some point.
I'd like to see. I like museums and those kinds of stuff. I'd do more of them if I got out more. I weren't such a recluse.
There's actually a retro video game museum actually nearby. I believe in. I want to say Dallas.
Oh, you can't go that way. Restricted area. We got to be sneaky, Charlie. Sneaky.
I can't promise.
Retro video game museum.
Well,
talk to the front desk man.
I have to
talk to the.
Can I jump your bones?
That seems like the most obvious way to.
Just a sec.
Yeah, just hang on a second.
Whoa, it's Joker.
He just gave me the opportunity to jump his bones. He just said he needed a moment.
Yeah, well,
I think he was talking to someone else. He was wanting someone else to do that.
I don't have time for your self-pity.
His face is so long.
He looks
I'm
like
pretty
Joker.
Sure he's part horse.
I think he's actually it's Joker without the makeup.
Look at that. He could easily have had a donkey for a mom. Look at that face.
I think he'd have more deformity if his mother was part donkey.
Have you looked at those ears?
Now, why aren't cops going around wearing...
from
I think cops should go around wearing
From
these
Froggy
sort of
Sergeant to
fancy
Cooper
satin
Precinct.
ties
I don't need
more.
this from you. I get enough of it at home.
And
So
pocket
either come up with something
protectors.
better than your usual
Nope.
attitude, or you
I'm
can
gonna
just
put in for
forget
the
it.
chin pube.
No.
To me.
Well, I think his chin's large enough. He actually gets natural frequency from that thing.
Crush. I'm gonna crush your dreams. Wow, he's giving me a grimace right now.
Well,
That is a menacing. That's a winnowing
I
stare.
think that may in fact be Joker in his time off.
You're angry. You have a right to be, but I've
Oh,
got
so he
to
is
get
supposed to
inside
be
that
angry.
cord.
Why is he angry?
You think I knew you'd be
Well, that
here? Just
seems
open the
rude.
door and get okay.
No,
No, I'm not gonna plead.
We don't even know why he's angry though. Well, see what plead says. I didn't even realize he was
Can't
angry.
deal with the past right now. I know it's a risk, but we really need to.
What?
Okay.
Nothing to say?
No, can you stop?
Okay, look, you're angry, and you've got a right to be. I'm putting you in a bad position. I
Oh,
have to
so
get
we're
inside
asking
that
him to
room.
help us because I guess
I
we know
won't
him.
Let it get back to you.
I'm always in a bad position.
And evidently he's angry at us about something.
Why are you doing this? Putting me between a rock and a hard
Oh,
place
I
again.
don't know. Maybe it's because you got
want
the
me to
face of a
sacrifice
sad
my job
sack.
to save your boss's ass, and if I lose my job, my life goes into the toilet. But you don't even care about
Well,
that. Do you?
apparently we've got beef, and I didn't realize it. That seems awfully hollow.
No, yeah, that seems super hollow.
What did he do? Why is this? I don't. We didn't pay enough
Oh.
attention again. Evidently.
You're right. It's not my risk to take.
Well, we could. I mean, we don't
It's
have to.
not going to force you to.
Well, because we don't have to get
That
in.
actually may let him make his own mind up, though.
Well,
just simply
true, but
giving you the
even if he doesn't, with that, there's other ways in. We don't have to go through him.
You're right. It's not my risk to take.
We
So
can.
I'm not going to force
we
you to
can
do anything, and I
be
won't hold it
sneaky,
against
of
you.
course, Charlie.
And what happened 2 years ago?
Something happened 2 years ago, apparently, and it's killing
We
him.
should talk about it sometime.
It's gonna kill me.
I don't need your help.
He's still angry at us. We were trying to be help.
Get back here. The call was made.
He took the shot house, so he shot somebody?
I killed the kid,
Oh,
and nobody
killed the
else
kid.
could carry it. What kind of
Okay.
sick bastard comes around after 2 years and reopens a wound like that?
And now he's mad at us for bringing it up. Did we bring it up? I thought you were the one who was mad, bro.
He was 15.
We could just be really manic. I know it's been eating you, man. I'm sorry. It's tough. You was 15! You're a sicko! No one's judging you, man. I'm sorry. You deserve to rot!
I'd give you a good cop routine, but it's not in my toolbox.
Hey, that's a topic we could discuss because that was on the list.
Nobody judging you. That's
Nobody's
not
judging you.
why
I'm
here.
being honest.
Just give me what I want is stupid.
You have to forgive, bro.
I'm gonna keep going with this route because this seems like the best,
Nobody
the best
blames you
route
for
in
it.
my opinion.
You have to believe that and forgive yourself, or you'll never put it behind you.
You condescending jackass.
He's just determined to be angry.
You really don't get it, do you? Why I'm
No,
like this?
I actually do get it why you're like this. You don't have a chin pube like the rest of us.
You haven't.
You're just mad about your
Gives a whole new meaning to
Your
earning your stripes.
pubeless chin.
God, I just
Earning
wanted
one
all to go
solitary
away.
stripe.
Had no choice.
Bruh, well, I don't think the absolving's working because he doesn't seem to be
It's in
accepting.
the past now, Wayne. We can put it behind us.
It's in the past now, Wayne. We can put it
Yeah,
behind us.
Wayne.
No, that's not what I wanted.
Well, what did you want, Wayne?
Tell me it was okay. But you just
I've tried that the last 3 times, pal. It's your chin pube. Just admit it and move on.
You don't feel like a man without your chin. You got no hairs on your chinny chin chin.
Badly do you want that neural hub?
Well, that was stupid. Trying to absolve you.
Well, that was a great way of. You're considering what?
Considering multiple homicides, what? Is our boss recommending we just shoot up this whole room? All right, I'm seeing the dead body.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Something's wrong with me. Okay, yeah, let's talk about the.
Let's talk about that show. Because we already talked about Batman for an hour. Let's talk about Batman some more.
In a different framework.
It is a different framework, but an equally good framework. Someone was keeping the show Gotham hidden from me. And us, I suppose, but...
Well, people told me about it, actually.
I never heard anybody...
My brother-in-law told me about it, and it was
I knew that it existed because I saw the ads for it, but I always wrote it off, and I don't know why. Maybe the ads made it seem just sort of like a dumb soap opera set in a Batman thing, and I was like, that sounds dumb.
That sounds dumb.
But it's, like, freaking good. Like, really, surprisingly so. Like, I remember... I think we even talked about it slightly before, but I don't know that we got into it. Because I think it's remarkably... What? That was the way to... Maybe?
No, it wasn't, because the X is down low, and when I go up high,
well, but there's 2 green X's, so maybe the other one was through there. Well, you can check the map if you want to be more specific, like the actual map, the detailed map.
Okay.
It could be one of these. Ouch! That was one of them hiccups that hurt you.
So it's in the building.
That's for the police thing. So that's a yellow thing. That's a yellow marker. No, because you didn't get in. You talked to the guy. You still have to get into the morgue. So because we can't use him as our...
I initially tried it from the front, though, which was right.
Oh, no. You went through the office to see if you could convince the guy, and that didn't work, so you're going to have to sneak in now. I don't exactly know how. You're going to have to be sneaky somehow, I say. I think we did talk about it, but I just don't know how much. Because I felt like when we first talked about it was when we had first started watching it, and so didn't have much to say.
Yeah, no, see, I've done this one.
Oh, you went... Okay, you talked to the guy. You have to get into the morgue still. You failed to do that.
Ooh, okay. Where am I?
You're down below. So you haven't actually completed this mission.
I understood that I didn't complete it, but I'm saying, how do you suggest I do that when there's one way in?
Well, was there one way in? Was there an event we could have maybe used? I mean, I didn't.
I'm gonna talk to this guy about letting me in and just sneak through a vent.
I'm just
now
saying.
That is placation. He's got a case now.
We didn't exhaust all options, is all I'm saying. But now we've been. What?
Never mind. I was going to say something that would have been grossly misinterpreted. I'm just not going to go there.
Well, good for you. It's a very good show. And I feel like now that we've been watching more of it, we can actually comment on it with some actual understanding rather than just, oh, this is good.
First hot take on the show, best Penguin hands down. I would honestly say...
Again, you have to wonder how would you qualify that?
No,
because
I would say unqualified for me. No qualification. He is the best Penguin.
Well, I'm trying to think of any other Penguin, and the only one that comes to mind is Danny DeVito, which isn't a high bar.
Well, maybe.
No offense to Danny.
Considering all the controversy, I think the UN should regulate.
I don't think the UN should regulate augmentation. That was the most random thing to bring up to a stranger, especially one who's clearly augmented. Be like going up to it's like going up to an immigrant and going, given the current circumstances, don't you think borders should be more secure?
Jensen, what the hell are you doing here?
Okay, now he's actually getting a little bit... That's interesting. So we've now come up to this door several times, and he's getting progressively more testy with us.
Can I shoot him?
I'm sure you can. The question is that the route you want to go? Because I doubt that'll be the right way to go.
Well, then why am I in here? Again, I say this.
I was simply saying we need to check. We wanted to make sure. Now we know for sure that there is only one door. There's no vents. There's nothing else.
Well, we've checked.
Well, maybe there's a sewer access. Who knows? We got to do something.
You said that like, hey, maybe there's a sewer access. I can't think of the actor's name.
I can't either, because that was a random thing.
What's with the...
Do not bring that fire near me.
Oh, no. What's...
Boy, I have no clue what you're saying. Let's go see MDM. Isn't that a drug?
What?
MDM? Or is it MDMA? I think it's MDMA.
I don't know what you're on about.
I think MDMA is a drug.
Okay.
And it was on a billboard. I'm simply saying that's a strange thing to see on a billboard. Okay, surely if there's a way to sneak into the police station, it's around the police station.
What do you? I'm not nearby the police station.
Well, you're gonna be. You're walking through the tunnels. There's at least to another part of town.
And it may lead to the hump.
Heffenkroken? Hey, go back!
What?
Is that a type of beer or something? Heffenkroken! Can I interest you in ein Heffenkroken?
Okay, how do I get to this other arrow? Because the arrow behind me is the police station, and this one right here is ahead of me, and there's no way to get to it.
Look at the map!
I did look at the map.
Look at it closer!
There's the police
You're walking
station.
away from the police station.
I'm aware because there's another yellow X over here.
That's
on
a
this other
separate
side.
quest.
It doesn't matter. I was going to move on for now because the police station is telling me to go. I don't know.
But you have to still do that quest. So walking away from it now.
How do you recommend doing that?
We're going to have to sneak in now.
We're going to have to placate some more.
No, we have to sneak in because we've already apparently tried to talk to him.
I know
and it
I've
didn't work.
stroked your ego quite a few times. But
do I have to stroke something?
Wow!
You weren't going to say it, I was. Everyone's thinking it, I'm just saying it.
Stroking.
Whoa, who's that? Oh, hey, dudes. These are dudes with guns and plastic suits.
You got anything you want to buy or sell? I'm the guy you want to deal with.
Ah, he's a black
Everything's on the
marketeer.
computer, right at your finger.
Certainly seems like he would be drawing a lot of attention to himself.
Always a pleasure.
I'm the Gatsby of the black market. That man's
This
looking
guy's
at
his retarded cousin.
Gatsby, I don't think Gatsby had a retarded cousin.
Okay, I wasn't specifically playing off of... How do I get out of here?
What is your problem? You don't know how where fences work? What were we talking about? Trying to talk about Penguin.
Are we just going to sit around here talking about how hard it is to get to the police station?
Because the only other actor I can think who's ever played Penguin has been Danny DeVito, and that wasn't a great... So I agree with you that he's certainly better than that.
Well, but
I
even
never
I
saw
would argue
any of
the new Penguin.
Well,
he's
yeah,
still
the one,
better. Now,
that's true. He's better. I would say the one that's in the Batman, the most recent one, is good. But I do think this one, the one in Gotham, has much more of the. He's just more interesting. The regular Penguin, a lot of times, he's just another mobster, which is a little less interesting.
Well, except in the Nolan films, which is
he was not in them. It was not in the slightest because that was Sal Maroni. That was Sal Maroni. Sal Maroni is not Penguin. That's a fact. Simply the fact that Batman broke his hip does not make him Penguin.
They kind of combined the
They did not, because Sal Maroni is a completely different person than Penguin.
That wasn't Sal Maroni.
Yes, it was.
That got dropped?
That was why he did it, because he was in league with Joker. So you're basing that off of the fact that he, drops him and breaks his legs, and then he walks kind of funny with a cane. And it's like that's hardly a connection.
It's been 6 months, Doug.
I mean, if it was a nod, it was the kind of stranger nod you do to weird acquaintances on the street. It wasn't like a full-on, greeting. It was more of a please back away kind of gesture.
So I'm free to go.
Not for nothing, but for a minute I thought we combined two villains.
Well, because I don't see... Yeah, I never got how you got there just because of that. I don't, so I'm not going to count it. But the one... He has much more of the interesting... Like, you see him...
You never know which angle he's playing.
Well, yeah, and you see the sneakiness... that got him from being what was essentially just, a low-level goon to how he actually worked his way up, which makes him interesting because now it's not just, I'm just another thug in a city full of thugs. It's like he's actually a mastermind, and you see that rather than just, he inherited it, which I think is the comic book is that his family was something. I mean, I don't exactly remember, but I agree that it makes him much more fascinating to watch.
Yes.
And so far, he's the only real villain.
In that he takes calculated.
Well, you never quite know whose side he's on because he's playing all the
Should
sides.
I upgrade? What did you do?
I think you can just buy stuff.
Well, she's getting at the fact that I could. Okay.
So you can buy upgrades. I mean, we've earned enough. Oh no, these aren't upgrades. These are just things we can buy for our.
The Praxis kit, she said, is like augmentation. It just makes the process go faster.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't think it's a. I think those are single-use items. I don't think that they're like
really?
a permanent augmentation. I think it's like almost a chip that gets used, or you could I think it's you can basically use it to instantly take any node.
Activation automatic. Buying this item will be automatically increase your Praxis.
Oh, never mind.
Counter. Your software package that allows you to directly download, acknowledge, or knowledge.
Huh.
You should enjoy this benefit immediately.
Go to the augmentation screen. I think it has something to do with that.
Where's that?
That would just be on your. It's not on this screen. It would just be in your pause menu.
Very well.
Oh.
Perhaps when you are feeling stronger.
So go to the whichever one it is. Available praxis. So basically, you earn those during missions. So you have 2. We could actually do some upgrades now, but you apparently can buy them as well. What do we want to? We now have to actually start thinking about how
Stealth
we're gonna.
Enhancer.
What is that? What does that actually do? View.
Display
Such as cones
stuff.
of vision, last known location. Allows you to track targets.
The cones of vision thing would be helpful, but
yeah, probably. I mean, we're gonna have to start deciding how exactly we want to play this. Do we want to what sort of abilities we want to? Oh, did you? Okay. I guess we've decided. I mean, stealth's a pretty good one because you're gonna need a certain amount of it, unless you.
I'm more of a stealthy type in that I would prefer to keep.
Well, this is a game, as I've said, where the full frontal assault very rarely pans out. So.
Torso augmentations. Oh, energy. Okay.
Because I think there are some upgrades we have that actually like drain a power source.
Implant and rebreather. So what? I can breathe underwater.
I think it means that you can breathe. You don't get knocked out by like gases and chemical weapons.
What about eye augmentation? Is there anything interesting?
Retinal, smart vision, Google Glass.
See through walls. Is that helpful?
I think that's one of the ones that requires energy, so it's like it's not even a permanent thing.
Take down multiple opponents with the reflex booster.
Well, that sounds like a useful thing to do, but how does it work? Take down multiple. What does more info say? That's too much text. I'm not going to read that. I think it might just increase. It might be a contextual combat thing. You can take down multiple people. That just increases your hit points. I remember that. Oh, there's the parachute.
For what?
Basically allows you to jump from a taller height and then not take damage. Ouch. Man, I got these hiccups that hurt.
Cloaking system.
That one.
Short period of time.
Yeah, that's another one that drains energy, but it's. Well, I always felt like this one was a little bit cheaty. Because it's almost like too much of an enhancement.
Well, okay.
I mean, that's up to you. Cybernetic legs. Does this make us faster? Able to jump higher? What does it do? These are too much words. Greatly strengthened, great confidence, retirement.
Heights and jumps.
Oh yeah, so it helps you jump higher. That is
and greater sprint speed.
Yeah, so that I know that there's some times where this can come in handy, where it's another means of traversal. It's like sometimes you have to find a sneaky way around something, or you can just jump over it.
Oh, gotcha.
We're gonna have to really put some thought into where we want.
Well, what do you want to do?
What are the cranium? What are the? Because those are probably the more immediately useful, are things that are like brain related. Like, hacking might be useful, because hacking really does help quite a lot.
Technically capturing and fortifying nodes.
That basically means that you have anytime you hack a node, you sometimes have the risk of alerting, and you have that augmentation, it makes it less likely. This one is the genuinely useless. This was a matter of the reviews, is that they managed to release the game with an upgrade that is actually useless, because you can already do that ability. This just makes it easier to, like, you, instead of having to push a button to see what the node says, it just shows it. So it's like literally, that's all the difference it made, is preventing you from having to push a button.
I can't be pushing buttons, all kinds of...
What is the speech? The one that looks like a speech bubble? Is that the one that the social enhancer? That might help us in...
Analyze people and persuade them.
That'll help us, especially because we're not paying attention. It will just listen to what the computer says. This implant takes care of what?
What?
Available praxis. Oh! Did you...
I only bought one.
Did it... Maybe... But did it cost 2? Some of them cost 2. You deliberately dodged. Well, obviously we're going to get more of these points throughout. Okay.
You want to buy more praxis points?
I don't know that we need to now. This is a reasonable enough place to call it. We didn't say anything about Gotham again. It's great. I think their portrayal of the Penguin, he's the only enemy or the only villain so far. They obviously are hinting at other people, but they've not really revealed them yet.
True.
So, I've been finding it fascinating. Gordon is obviously the best character because he is the main character.
He's fantastic, although
they're really making him like fun to watch.
The supporting actor is actually very good.
Yeah, his grizzled detective partner.
And initially, I was kind of thinking that he was going to be just a jerk the whole time and a bit of a
washed-up sort of drunkard.
Well, that, but also the abraded kind of, okay, he's just, any interaction they have with Gordon is going to just be bad, but they actually ended up making his arc interesting. So.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's fun that you can finally see Gordon being like, oh, wow, so he actually was, like, intense in his day. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it kind of works into his later portrayal in the Nolan films, where it's like, you can kind of see how 20 years of being the sort of hot-headed, loose cannon cop, ultimately you'd sort of end up being just sort of a weary old, like, I'm too old for this.
The bottom line is, if you're a
Whoa,
sprightly, passionate cop
what is she doing? You think she's playing a game, or is she having some kind of a seizure?
If you're that, chances are eventually you'll be a commissioner.
Well, hey, yeah, there you go. I mean, again, I'll repeat the same thing we said about the Batman, which is if you're looking for an interesting TV show, might like it. But if you're a Batman fan, or not, I wouldn't say a Batman fan, because obviously it takes place before Batman is a thing. Bruce Wayne is still a young kid in the show.
It's worth it, though.
But if you are a fan of the Batman universe, let's say, there's a lot in it that's worth it. I think that woman may, in fact, have some medical ailment. Whoa. I mean...
We're going to circle back to her.
What? Why are you making that connection?
I'm just saying. Next time. She put it down.
Oh, she caught us staring. She caught us staring. It was like, oh crap, I'm making a scene again, aren't I? My doctor said not to do that.
She realized the error of her addictive habits and has decided to...
Oh, so you're thinking it was like a little pill tab box?
No.
That's what it looked like to me at first, because she was really getting happy about it.
How many pills is she popping?
Well, I mean, the way she's... I don't know.
Like there were cops at the door just...
Okay, well now I think we've insulted her, because now she's been still looking at us and is like,
she's gonna pull them out again.
She's got 2 electric devices.